Just wanted to understand how many of you are a portion of our how many of you are using cloud in any means?
Personal.
Not personal, officially. Officially, IBM. Okay. Uh, is it more of a public cloud or hybrid or?
Mix of public hybrid.
Okay. Okay. I have been hearing it for the last 2 hours, and many of you have been talking more about security and somebody stealing your data and stuff like that. My question is the worry is somebody stealing your data, or it's more of your data lying somewhere and you don't know what's happening there?
Second one.
So you're more worried about your data lying somewhere and you don't know what's happening. Because if you know about security, the most secure place for keeping a gold is banks, not your house, correct? So the most of the public cloud today, all the top tier one IT companies, be it Microsoft, Oracle, any of them, they have a cloud solution. So does it mean that they will be completely secured rather than your in-house setup? Answer is yes and no. Yes is yes, might be in the future some of them are already there, but however they are going towards it. So I think the thought I would like to leave it out with you is it's not about somebody stealing your data. Probably it is about what will happen with your data which is lying. It's not at your house but somebody else's house. I think the thought should start from there. Their systems are as secure as yours. They would have more regulations and stuff like that for yours. So I would like to leave that thought in you. Think about those areas. I represent infrastructure management service within Wipro, and wanted to know a little more about infrastructure as a services. Are you guys looking at it? Are you doing it in some manner? When you said we are having hybrid. So what are those things which you have moved to the cloud? Is it an infrastructure? Is it a service? Software?
Yeah, so for our organization, generally we have category of information. We start with red, which is say critical to our business, and finally it goes to kind of green, which is primarily not so critical. So anything which is not red is cloud first for us. So for example, all our key HR data is on cloud, which is more of an software as a service. And similarly, all our collaboration is on cloud. And again, whatever new future and products and offerings that we're looking is primarily cloud first, unless if it's a red category information.
I would say that's a really prominent thought, for a company and which is really looking into that areas. I would really like to congratulate you. What about you and even you? I remember you also saying something.
We are using public cloud.
And it's for a infrastructure or for an application?
What kind of
It's for the applications, like to install set of applications on the public and then give access to the users.
Okay. What about the core infrastructure, like say your email or a communication platform?
The email is in-house.
Okay. And if at all you have to move your email to a public, what does it take? Do you see any major concerns over there?
I don't think emails are not be a concern.
It shouldn't be a concern. Is something holding you back from moving from on-premise to cloud, public cloud? I'm talking purely public cloud. So you're saying that your team was quite open for moving your exchange to exchange of nodes to the public cloud. Okay, that's very nice to know. Is there anybody who contradicts this and says, I don't move my core infrastructure like email or the communication platforms like audio, video to the cloud? Does anyone?
I would like to.
Yeah.
See, I had tried this activity when our IAM port, the email security system, had expired, and I had planned the activity. Let's move to cloud. So we had already invested into the servers, and we had already, had enough number of licenses of Exchange. So when we tried, to go to cloud, and when we approached many of the vendors, they were like, the cost per se was really not, as effective as what was said or what was actually published across. So we had to, go think in-house is better because already there is an investment being done, and we dropped the option of cloud. So what we did was only the email security system. That is,
Mhm.
instead of having an investment on iPort again,
Mhm.
we did a semantic cloud for email security system.
Mhm.
So that way is the only way which I could go to cloud. Otherwise,
So you're saying
cost-wise was
the total cost of ownership has been already invested in the on-premise exchange and
Yes.
servers, and and then me going to a cloud and again investing on it doesn't make sense. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. I
Okay.
didn't find the ROI. See, at the end of the day, you have to say to the management that this
Got
is
it.
the
Got
ROI.
it. Got it.
And
Sure. Being very answering very specific to that, we have been working with a couple of clients where they have a similar issues in terms of looking at the total cost of ownership for the next 5 years or 7 years, looking at the investment which has been already made. We have worked around it. We have been talking to the OEMs as well in terms of moving, taking such partners, taking such clients to the cloud. How would it enable, what it makes. So probably offline I will discuss with you in terms of what we could do, how we could do on that. It's quite possible. I would say your return on investment on the cloud is much higher than on-prem. While you might at this moment feel that the investment which you might already made on premise is slightly higher, and I don't know whether what will happen if I let it off. I understand. I get that point. I will discuss with you offline on that. That would require a little more discussion on that. Any other thought with anyone, especially on audio video moving to cloud? What's the thought?
We have moved our entire video platform onto it.
Okay.
Of course, initial teething issues were there. I think it has been quite successful. I think people are finding quite beneficial to that studio on.
And did you face any bandwidth challenge in that? Not really? Okay. Just to stress about a little more on bandwidth, what will happen if I go to cloud and my entire bandwidth will be joke? Is it true or not? It's true. It's really your bandwidth jokes. You need to really have a plan and how much you are going to dedicate it. How are you going to have a plan? It's just not enough that you move to cloud. You need to really plan in those areas how much you want to do it and everything. The bottleneck where you will be facing is the moment you hit ISP. And that's where I think the most of your planning has to start and what is that going to do it. Because in the last 1 year we have seen multiple OEM vendors where their cloud service was almost down for half an hour, 1 hour, in some places maybe for half an hour. But the root cause analysis was done. It was not with the OEM, it was with the ISP. So not to blame an ISP here, but there are some challenges with the ISPs as well as your own network if you don't plan it properly. So I think the key thing would be there is, well, yes, there is a bandwidth challenge, but however, if you don't plan properly, definitely it's going to be a problem. So there are workarounds to it. What you should do, how can you do it? We have learned from some of our experience with the clients and in our in-house also within Wipro. So we could share that as well. I can take some of those in the offline as well. Any other major?
Some observation I had, Ganesh, was I was speaking to a lot of CIOs doing a story around cloud. The top CIOs of the big companies, they said they had everything, all the critical applications in public cloud, and they had to pull out everything. And then they put it on the virtual networks. For the simple reason that even taking a backup, data backup was challenging, and Amazon was the nice. So under such circumstances, what is the confidence level that?
Right now, yes, there are a lot of such problems out there. I'm not denying it. Especially when you talk about I have my data on the on the cloud, and I remember gentleman asking what will happen if I do take back my data. Such issues are there, but I think going forward there would be a seamless migration which would be between platforms. Now, that would definitely happen. But right now, what each of the OEM providers are giving is they are giving you a window span where you can take backup of data. The issue where it lies is, if I think the primary concern would be if my data is huge, and the time and bandwidth will I take it to, bring it on premise is again an issue over there. So again, is while it is nice to have a Wi-Fi called cloud, you also need to manage it out. So unless you have a very proper plan how you want to really move to cloud, it will not help you. But does it not solve your purpose? It does solve your purpose. It does help you out in terms of saving your cost. 100% sure about it.
So any more questions we could take? Perhaps we could also. So how do you think the challenges in talking to business, are they really buying?
In fact, business are buying more on the cloud. Do you agree with me? And if the moment you go to CFO and you say, no, I think the moment OEM goes to CFO and they say, no, look, you can reduce your IT infrastructure by 50%, CFO is going, okay, what is my IT doing? Why are they not going? Isn't that the question? Yes. So,
That's largely, to make sure that they don't have to deal with the local IT.
correct.
That's,
Uh, That brings me to a question, very interesting question. I have asked this in a couple of forums. Please don't take it offended. Do you feel a threat in terms of your profiles if some of these applications are moved to cloud? And do you feel that I am handicapped? I don't know what is happening. It's lying somewhere. Do you feel that?
I personally think the role of IT is going to transform in next 5 years, and that's what like Gartner and any big consulting go. That's what they show, because role of IT is going to be less of a service provider than more of a business innovator, and we really need to kind of also keep that pace with this change. Because personally in our organization we see that there's a lot of, I would say, business stakeholdering in decisions related to IT. So for example, choice on the product vendor, choice on the type of hosting, etc. There is a lot of business understanding because they want to make sure IT is slowly becoming critical for us, and I think for most of the organizations, and they need to make sure that we have the right, say, the best in class solutions for everything.
I think, yeah, that's a very interesting point. I want to talk a little bit 2 minutes on this. The transformation what will happen for a CIOs would be your core infrastructure would be moved to cloud in the next few years. Whether you like it or not, it's going to be moved. I have heard Steve Ballmer speak in the session where one of his vision about the core infrastructure is like you walking into a supermarket, pick up what you want, and then move forward, go to billing, go on. So it means when you start up a company, you pick up what all you want in the core infrastructure, set it up, it's right there, right now, starting from now. So that's what's going to happen. So the challenge for CI would be, how will I, your core infrastructure is not a problem. The challenge would be, how will I enable my IT to drive more and more business to my company? The CI would be talking more on that angle, not more on how do I manage my exchange, how do I manage my Lotus, how do I manage my AD, or that's not what the challenge is going to be. How will I make my IT to get more business? That's going to be the challenge, that's going to be the more talk.